Hello, besties! Welcome back to this week's episode of your Manifesting Bestie podcast. I'm your host, Flora, and we are diving into all things mindset and manifestation, sprinkled in with some divine feminine energy like we have been doing all season long. The past 16 weeks have been so transformational with this new season. I was just at an event called Creator Hub. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably see all the content that I was reposting with everybody that were tagging us on stage. It was so much fun. I got to be one of the guest speakers. I was a panelist on the millionaire panel for UBC World, which two of my very good friends put together for hundreds of creators. It was so much fun, so life-changing. And my favorite part was the interactions I had backstage and the interactions I had with the guests and people coming up to me and sharing their story, sharing their message. I met so many incredibly sweet women who are in the brinks, in the trenches of transforming their own lives. And they are listeners of the podcast. A lot of them are in my membership or they're in my business programs, and it was such a synergistic effect to get to connect with so many like-minded individuals who are on the same journey as I was a couple years ago. That pivotal moment, that breaking point, hitting rock bottom and leveling the fuck up from there. So it was such an incredible experience to meet you guys in Orlando, and I can't wait to do that again. I'm honestly just so grateful to live through that. And there's a couple topics that I wanted to share on today's podcast that I think are going to be really helpful. I briefly went over this on one of the questions on stage this weekend. And I was like, this would be such a good podcast episode to really dig into it, dive deep into it, peel back the layers, help more people on their journey. So Creator Hub was an event for creators to come together. People who are content creators, business owners, brand owners, people who run podcasts, people who do TikTok and YouTube and Instagram for a living, influencers, brand owners, right? Just so many cool people, so many people with creative ideas, so many people who are in this space of constantly reinventing themselves and then sharing it with the world. I was asked a question that I feel like, oh my God, I want to talk about this so bad with you guys too. So we were talking obviously about business, about making money, about abundance, about how incredible it is when you bet it all on yourself and you follow your authentic voice, right? Your authenticity, because as content creators, that's what helps people get to the next level. It helps them step into a new state of being, a new energetic frequency that brings to them more opportunities, more blessings, more people to network with, more career expansion, more money, more clients, more eyes on them, more exposure. So just more of all the good things that we love. So if you're a content creator, this episode is really going to resonate with you too. So we were talking about certain things that we regret, certain things that we've experienced online, and a lot of things that people normally would shy away from that I believe is your biggest asset. It's your biggest benefit. It's what gets you 10 steps ahead of everybody else within your own space. And I think we probably touched on this on the podcast and other episodes too very briefly, but I wanted to talk about integrating your shadow side into your work. Most people have this idea that in order for you to show up, in order for you to take up space, in order for you to be seen, in order for you to launch something or create something, you currently need to be perfect. You need to be top notch already. You need to be at like the top of your game right when you get started, and that doesn't really make sense. There's an aspect to you that if you can integrate into your work, into your business, into your content, into your expansion plan overall, into your strategy as a creator, as somebody who's a conscious creator, as somebody who loves to express themselves creatively, is integrating your shadow work into your passion, into your business, into your brand, into your content, into every single thing that we are doing here in this digital space. So when most people are in this act of creation, they want to make more money, or they want to be a brand owner or an influencer, or they want to be a mentor or anything like that. They are under this misconception that they need to be perfect already. Right? They need to have it all figured out. And so what they do is they start to show up online projecting themselves or presenting themselves as somebody that is not authentically them. right? This is the idea of perfection. I need to be perfect now in order to take up space. And this is the biggest mistake. This is what makes people lose out actually on a lot of exposure, a lot of money, a lot of growth, in my opinion, is because they suppress their authentic shadow side. Now, your shadow side is the parts and the pieces of yourself that you find embarrassing to share, that you just want to ball up, shrink up, and hide away. The parts of yourself that you do not want to unleash onto the world because you're ashamed of her. You don't think she's good enough. Not yet. Maybe she was traumatized. Maybe she was hurt a lot. Maybe she was constantly rejected. Maybe she suffered through some really awful experiences. Maybe she really embarrassed herself. Maybe she carries a lot of shame and a lot of guilt around a specific area. How many of us deal with suppressing parts of ourselves that we don't think is palatable or good enough for the world to see? Raise your hand. I'm definitely somebody who used to think that way too. I'm like, I can't show this. I can't express this. Like, this is embarrassing. This is too raw. This is too unfiltered. This is too vulnerable. It puts me in a position of being so vulnerable that everyone I know in the back of my head, everyone is going to judge. Everyone's going to form an opinion, and then I cannot control the narrative. I lose control of everyone's perception of me if I show up in my shadow state. So you have the face, right? The face that you carry that you want to portray, the face that you want everyone to see, everyone that you want to get familiar with. We all have that. We can call that like the mask. This is the mask we like to put on, our best mask, our best face, our best foot forward, and we present ourselves as this individual always. Like, I am this perfectly curated, so put together, so intelligent, so brave, so courageous, so beautiful, so just everything is just perfection, top notch, 24/7. And this is the face I want to put on for the world to see. That's great. And that will get you into a lot of doors, being presentable, showing your best assets, your best side, your best features, your best skill sets, showing those things off. That will get you very far in life. So you don't need to suppress that either. But then there's the shadow side of the individual that goes unseen, unheard, and just like submerged in the murky waters beneath the mask, beneath who we present ourselves as. And that shadow side of you is actually your moneymaker. It's actually your most magnetic self. Because you have gone through experiences that connect with people emotionally that they will never connect with you on if you don't allow her to shine, if you don't give her a voice. So if I'm constantly suppressing the shadow version of me, the parts of me I'm embarrassed of, the parts of me who were hurt, who was rejected, who felt ashamed of herself, who felt a lot of guilt, who carried trauma, that version of me still exists. It's not like she's gone, right? If I want to call upon her and embody her, I still can. Because I'm very familiar with those aspects of myself because I lived through years of situations, right? As have you. You've gone through very specific circumstances that shaped you into the individual that you are now. It shaped you into somebody who's a lot braver, a person who can manage their emotions better, a person who had to go through a lot of healing work, right? So there's parts of yourself that experience trauma and neglect and shame and all these negative emotions, and you had to be the individual who sat with her shadow side to work with her and integrate her into your daily life, because we can only suppress her so much. And what I notice in the women that I work with and in the examples that I get to see and the people I get to rub shoulders with is the women who express their shadow side to the world. They are the women who are getting into bigger rooms. They are the women with fatter bank accounts. They are the women who are so authentically themselves, it just authenticity just kind of exudes from their cells. They're not afraid to laugh at themselves. They're not afraid to share the trauma. They're not afraid to share, hey, I'm still going through it. I'm still in it right now. And this is how I'm battling it. This is how I'm overcoming it. This is how I'm dealing with it. They don't show up in perfection. They show up with integration. So they're integrating their shadow side into their light side, into the mask, into the beauty. Okay, they're not afraid to say, hey, I went through this disgustingly abusive relationship. And this is how, after years of trying to escape, after years of trauma, after years of all my friends telling me I need to be smarter and do better, and I didn't listen to them, this is how I finally pulled myself out of this situation. You know, you're going to connect with hundreds of thousands of people with a raw and unfiltered shadow story like that. When you're no longer suppressing her, you're allowing her to be free. You're allowing her to have a voice. You're allowing her to take up space. The parts of yourself that you're ashamed of, you're giving herself freedom. Okay, freedom of self-expression. That is where connection and integration happens with other people. And that is how these women are becoming so successful, is because if you have a story to share, it better be a damn good story. If you have a mentorship that you provide, you probably have gone through the trenches, right? If you have a service or a solution that you're offering people, it's because you were faced with the problem so many times that you had no choice but to create your own solution. So now you get to offer it to other people. You see what I'm saying? You had to go through the trauma. You had to go through the mud and get your name dragged through the fucking dirt at some points so that you can have the testimony, so that you can share your triumphs and your tribulations and the hardships and the wins. Because if someone is just always born with favor and all they experience is goodness and all they experience are wins, you have no story. There's nothing for you to connect with because there's no one else in the world who is just winning 24/7. So our greatest losses shape us. Yes, they do traumatize us. And yes, we do sit there asking, why the F did that have to happen to me? Why did my parents put me through that? Why did this partner put me through that? Why did my friend stab me in the back? Why did this stranger abuse me, right? So we do have those questions like, why would this happen to me? And asking a question like that is valid. And I wish I had a good enough answer to be like, well, this person went through this amount of trauma for this reason, and then another person went through 10 times worse amount of trauma for I wish I had an answer to figure out why people go through all the difficult circumstances that they are faced with. It boils down to those questions of like, well, why would a child be born with illness? Or why would a child be born into a country that's being bombed or starved, right? I don't know the answers to these questions, and I'm not going to try to sound smart. I have no idea. But if you are listening to this message and you've gone through the dirt, right? You've gone through the crumbling experiences. You felt like your world has been on fire. What can we do with that? Once we overcome it, like what can we do with that story? We can share it to uplift other people. And if you're courageous enough to integrate your shadow self into your lightness, into your beautiful aura, into your champion warrior mindset that you now possess, that you now own, you are going to be the person who's growing at exponential levels in your brand and in your business and in the content creation game and in your mentorship, right? Because you're going to be the person who has the courage to be raw and unfiltered about her losses, right? About the issues she had to overcome, how she did it, how she overcome that. And you're going to help so many people. You're going to change so many lives. You're going to create much more than just money and a whole lot of money, but you're going to create impact. You are going to hold influence. And a person who holds influence cannot be replaced. You can't be replaced by robots. You can't be replaced by ChatGPT. You can't be replaced by AI. You hold influence. You hold power that is far more valuable than a college degree, for example, or a high GPA, or all these things that we thought when we were younger that we needed to be a valuable individual. It's actually your shadow side that you have buried deep inside of you that becomes the value. It holds its weight in gold, and people want to suppress it, and they want to hide it, and they want to bury it, and they want to tell that voice to be quiet. You're not good enough to take up space. You're not good enough to be bold. You're not good enough for self-expression. But those are the parts of yourself that create connection. That is the version of you that creates impact and holds heavy influence. Because I guarantee you, if you have solved one difficult problem in your lifetime, and you've solved 100 of them, by the way, so if you ever want to discredit yourself, stop it right now. Stop it. Like, nip that shit in the butt. If you've solved one important problem in your life, you can help thousands of people solve the same problem. If you've overcome hardships with your parents growing up, if you got out of a difficult relationship, abusive relationship, a cheating relationship, eating disorders, trauma, sexual abuse as a child or as an adult, poverty, overcoming financial hardships, being in debt, getting your home taken away, getting kicked out of your rental property, getting your car repoed, falling behind on bills, being so high in credit card debt that you choose to disconnect your cell phone because too many creditors are calling you and blowing your shit up. Those things that you try to hide, those things you're like, these are just so awful, right? I cannot share this with the world. I need to be perfect and I need to put on the mask all the time. But if you can share that with the world, you have automatically elevated yourself on the emotional scale to the very, very, very tippy top, which is the frequency of authenticity. That is the God frequency. Because the God who lives inside of you, the source energy that lives within you, has a deep desire to be expressed and to expand itself. So God, the creator, the energetic source, and I'm not talking about the man in the sky that people think of. That's not who I refer to when I say God. God is the living consciousness that breathes inside of all of us, inside of animals, inside of plants, inside of everything. All consciousness, that united source that lives within you, me, all of us. It wants to expand itself. It wants to be seen. It wants to express itself because it knows that through expression, we build connection and far more expansion in the universe. The person who has gone through so many hardships is the person who expands the universe more and more and more because they're constantly launching bigger desires for greater expansion. You need to share that with the world. And the way that the world is changing right now, right? AI is taking over. We see everyone's using ChatGPT, and we can tell that everyone's using ChatGPT. In case you thought that we couldn't tell, we can, by the way, okay? If AI is the new revolution, right? And in the next 3-4 years, it's gonna really take over everything. How can we make sure that we are irreplaceable? It's by holding that value, the shadow side of ourselves, the one that builds authentic connection. That is how you can make sure that your voice can never be taken over by any artificial intelligence, because you are the source to connection. You operate at the God frequency of authenticity. If you can share these parts of yourself with the world, if you have an interest in that, not everyone has an interest in it, but if you can, because obviously I just came back from a creators event and I have so many creators who follow me, so I feel like this is a big deal to talk about. You'll notice so much more growth in your brand, in your career, in your success when you choose integration over constant suppression. And not only is suppressing your authentic voice not helpful, but it fucks with your nervous system. It destroys it. You're always telling yourself, you're not good enough. We're not safe. It's not safe to express ourselves, right? This is how we heal the world, through this authentic frequency that we can all tap into by integrating the shadow side with the light side, by no longer suppressing self, no longer suppressing the authentic voice. And let me tell you, my friends, this is where the money is. This is where the money is. This is where the money is. There's no way I could be making millions of dollars if I didn't have a good story to share. There's no way. Because imagine if the story that I shared with people was like, yeah, I was born rich and I've always been rich. And now I'm still rich. Do you think anyone wants to hear that? Boring. Who's gonna connect with that? Not even rich people. They're gonna be like, ew, what is she talking about? This is embarrassing. Please shut up. Or it's like saying, I was born skinny and now I'm still skinny and then I remain skinny, by my diet exercise plan. Who's gonna buy that? There's no story, there's no transformation, there's no trial and tribulation, there's no shadow integration into an image that is portrayed as always winning. So don't hide who you are. You have gone through so many things. I mean, guys, since birth, we've been experiencing trauma. Birth is like the most traumatic experience. Women know this all around the world. Have you ever asked a mom what she went through during birth? I mean, the hospitals have fluorescent lighting, it's making people sick. Then they get an epidural and they're going through all this pain. And the hospitals have you laying down on a bed to give birth when you're supposed to be squatting so the child can come out of you easily, right? So everything from birth is already traumatic. Then the baby gets thrown into this new world that it didn't really ask to come into. We're bringing lives into this world and we need to make sure we can grow them, manage them, emotionally regulate them, help them succeed, right? Give them all the good things. But a lot of babies are born into families that are not giving them safety. So many children, you might be one of them, have gone through trauma since birth, right? We're born into families that have a really hard time raising us. Maybe there's addiction, maybe there's abuse, maybe it's one person taking care of us and they're in over their head. Maybe they're emotionally dysregulated. We're experiencing trauma our whole lives. And then we're told from birth, you're born into sin. And then the whole world and the societal pressure is just telling you that you're already born into sin. You just open your eyes and you're already a sinful being. It's no wonder we're all fucking traumatized. And then we experience the bullying in school, and then we have to keep up with all of our grades, and then the extracurricular activities, and then the dating, and then the trauma, and then the abuse, and then the poor friendships, and then the moving different states or different country, and then some people have war going on in their countries, and some people don't have food on the table, they cannot pay their electric bill, they're sharing a house with 8 different people, there's screaming, there's trauma, all everywhere. And we're like, damn, I don't remember signing up for any of this. Why did my parents bring me into this world? So if you were one of those people who are like, damn, I've been through so much, why me? It's probably because you are being called to help others. You are being called to share your story. You are being called to expand the world with your experience. So hiding yourself, hiding the shadow side, and telling it that it's not good enough to be seen, you're not just doing yourself a disservice, but the entire world. The world needs you. You have purpose. You have meaning. You're not ordinary. You're not basic. You're not average. Okay, you have meaning. You have purpose. There's a reason you're here. There's a reason you went through all that. And the best place to find out what that reason is to express it, is to share it. Share how I overcame this, how I survived this, how I went from X to Z. It's the transformation story that the world needs from you so the world can continue to heal and expand and grow. In today's day and age, I see so much conscious parenting content. I'm like, wow, I'm so proud of us. Look at how we're not traumatizing our children anymore. Look at how we refuse to pass on the old cycles, the cycles of poverty, the cycles of abuse, the cycles of mental health issues, the cycles of poor physical health, all the cycles that we are nipping in the butt because we realize in order for us to heal generational trauma, we must become the healed individual. And suppression is not a way to heal. It's a way to not feel things until it comes out of us and it bursts out of us and it becomes a much bigger issue. So suppression is not the answer. The answer is integration. If you guys are in my program or if you follow me online or anything like that, you know I'm a huge advocate for somatic work and nervous system regulation. And someone asked me, like, why do you always promote this? Does life just become easy at some point? Does just life become perfect once I have a super healed and regulated nervous system? And I was like, no. It doesn't become perfect because you always need to expand. There's always going to be polarity in the world, right? But these are tools to help us grow, evolve, manage, and release the emotions that do come up so that we're not just a ball of fire that's constantly burning and in pain and traumatizing everybody else around us, right? We get to manage the emotions, release them, express them rather than suppress them. And in time, triggers stop coming up. We know how to manage our problems better. We heal as a collective by using these kind of tools. And my favorite stories are the ones that I see inside of the Self-Concept Mastery Academy. I mostly work with women in there, but we do have some men. And women just telling me like, Flora, you have no idea. I was in an abusive marriage and I started listening to you. And then I joined your academy and then I started healing my emotions. I left the abusive partner. I launched my career. Now I'm making 5-figure months. I'm so happy. I found myself. I found my identity. I found my voice. I'm not ashamed of her. And I'm just like, wow. All of this is happening to other people because I chose not to shut my mouth about issues I was experiencing, about issues I was going through. And I didn't wait to be perfect to show up, right? So if you're waiting for perfection, you're gonna be waiting a whole damn lifetime. Show up as you are. Be the story. Take people on a journey. You are here. In the next 6 to 12 months, you're gonna be in a completely different stage in your life. And you're gonna hold yourself accountable and you're gonna share the secrets and share the stories and you're gonna build a cult-like following. You become the person of influence who cannot be replaced. No matter what trends, what internet AI technology is about to take over, nothing can happen. You own your shit. And when a person can own their shit, they hold leverage. They have leverage, they hold influence, right? You can do anything with your brand, with your image. And some people have this fear, right, that kind of eats away at them. They're like, okay, well, if I express all these vulnerable parts of myself, all these issues, don't I just give people the popcorn to sit and watch the movie unfold and they can make fun of me, they can have all these opinions of me, they can curate their own assumptions about me and I'm not going to be in control of them? The truth about that is when you have expressed the darkest aspects of yourself, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that anyone can just dangle over your head because you've already shared it with the world. You owned it. You own it, you hold space for it, you're not ashamed of it, you talk about it freely and openly. There's nothing anyone can dangle over your head like, oh, surprise, you thought you were hot shit, but now I got dirt on your name. I know what you did back in high school, right? Like you're not hiding yourself. You're owning every part of yourself, which means no one can hold anything over your head. You are exactly who you say you are, and that is the best part of you. That is how we connect with you. That is how the world gets to see you. That is how you start to shine. That is how you step into your inner magnetism. This is how we expand our own electromagnetic field around us. This is how we create more opportunities in our life. This is how we network better. This is how we make more money. This is how we grow and expand quicker, bigger. This is every single person that you have witnessed go through a crazy success story. It's because they chose to share the shadow side. They chose integration over suppression. So if you are a creator or you want to become a creator, you want to be in the online space, you see how there's so many of us that are making millions of dollars. It's not a secret. We talk about it all the time. We're mentors, we're conscious creators. Some people are influencers. Some people work with other brands. All these people are doing the same thing. They're sharing who they are on camera. If that interests you, you're like, you know what? I've been thinking about this, or I already have a service that I provide. It's just not taking off. I want you to ask yourself, how can I start to integrate my shadow side into my light side? How can I create that polarizing content to create and connect with more people? That is the biggest missing component in most people's businesses. They're not sharing the full story. They're just sharing the end perfect curated result, but no one wants to see that because they cannot connect with that. They want you. They want a piece of you. They want to be your friend or they want to be like you. Either way, the way that we build better connections is through this integration process. And we hear a lot about shadow work online, right? Shadow work, journaling, meditation, affirmations. People call that shadow work. In my opinion, shadow work is pulling up a chair right next to you and inviting your demons out to play. Invite all the dark aspects of yourself out to play. Sit them right next to you, put your arm around her. Like, hey, you are my shadow side, let's be friends. I don't want to hide you anymore. I'm going to give you space. I'm going to let you share yourself, let you express yourself, let you share your story, because then people can see how far you've come. And the less that you choose to hide and the more space that you are willing to take up, the more successful you become. It's inevitable. There's really no way to stop the success from rolling in when you get yourself to this point of openness, to this point of like, Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I went through that. Yeah, it was fucking tough. Yeah, I destroyed my life. I hit rock bottom. But I'm not there anymore, right? Now I'm here. And these are all the things that I did to get myself to this point. So if you are in rock bottom, give yourself a round of applause. You are in the best possible place for a massive transformation to take place. If you are in rock bottom, ease up, lighten up a little bit. You're exactly where you need to be to catapult you to your next level of success. And that story that you are going to receive from this point of hitting rock bottom, it's going to change your life and the lives of thousands of people who listen to you. Do not be ashamed of the shadow. She's there for a reason. She went through those experiences for a reason. Your job is to give her the freedom to just expand and express herself. And if it feels cringy, it's gonna make you money. My cringiest content has made me gain the most followers. It's given me the most money in my pocket. It's sold out the majority of my programs. My cringy videos go the most viral usually because then people start stitching it and replaying it and adding their 2 cents. Or they're dragging my name through the mud because they don't like what I'm saying. Either way, it doesn't matter. It helps me grow and expand myself. So always remember, cringe is where the cash is at. Cringe is just an energy. It's an energy that makes people feel something. It might feel like discomfort. It might be like, what the hell is she talking about? But those are the things that help you expand more, get more eyes on you. So if you are in this game of content creation, step into the next level of self by honoring your light and shadow side through the process of integration. And I know you have like 10,000 transformational stories to share if you're a woman. Because women go through the most trauma. They're going through it all the time, actually. Motherhood, marriage, career, right? The 9 to 5 space, being the oldest daughter in the family. All that shit is traumatic. All of it. Everything women go through, honestly, is a story to tell. So if you want to make it big in that space, you just need to tell your story. You just need to be you. So many people want it. They want it. They're hungry for the authenticity. They're hungry for your story. They're hungry for the testimony. And they're hungry for some self-belief so that they can adopt the same belief you did to pull themselves out of a rut. So stop hiding yourself. You are so valuable. You can create so much impact. You can change so many lives. And you don't have to develop any new skill sets. You just are who you are. And you no longer want to hide her. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of your Manifesting Bestie podcast. And we will be back again next Wednesday with a brand new episode.